Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Zoe and I make motherhood and lifestyle videos. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about toddler behavior, specifically negative behavior. I don't want to say bad behavior because I don't think a toddler is bad if they have a meltdown or a tantrum. It's really just their emotions coming out. But yeah, unwanted toddler behavior. So it sort of just creeps up on you, that toddlerhood behavior. You know, 1 minute they're a baby and they really just cry if their basic needs aren't being met, and they're crying because, you know, they're hungry or they're wet or they're tired. But then you know, they grow up into a toddler and, you know, even just saying, we're going home now, we're finishing playing in the park, or we're going inside, or no, you can't have any more food because dinner's going to be soon, so no more snacks, anything like that. And it's just like the worst thing in the world. Their whole life crashes, and yeah, a lot of emotions. So, you know, how do you deal with that? When it first happened to us, it was just it just came out of nowhere, and especially, you know, when it happens in public and you're like, you just don't feel equipped, and you're like, okay, like, what do I do in this situation? Yeah, I definitely didn't feel confident when Nate first started displaying this type of behavior, you know, having tantrums and meltdowns. I didn't know what to say to him. I didn't know how to fix it, and I was trying to fix it, and, you know, you'd be embarrassed, but don't be embarrassed. This happens to all toddlers at varying degrees. You know, they're all a bit different, but pretty much all toddlers will have tantrums and meltdowns at some point. It's just, I guess, learning how to cope with that, and yeah, learning some strategies to help reduce them and help shorten them. But they're still going to happen. No matter what you do, they're still going to have these emotions. And really, as parents, it's our job to just guide them through that and help them to understand these emotions, and not so much shut them down, but just yeah, understand them and control them in a way that they can still let out their emotions in a healthy way. Yeah. So anyway, this video is really just to go through some of the strategies that we have learnt. I feel like I just wasn't prepared at all. If I could go back, I would have researched this stuff back when Nick was a baby. I sort of, as soon as it started happening, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to learn what to do now. I have no idea what to do. I've never done this before. First time mum. So if you're watching this and you have a baby and you think that this video is not for you, this video is for you. You're going to be dealing with this soon. So definitely have a watch of the whole video and get some strategies under your belt so you are prepared. And if you are a mum of a toddler or a dad of a toddler and you have your own strategies that I haven't mentioned in this video, please make sure you write them below in the comments, because yeah, a few more tips are always great. I love to know as many strategies as I can to deal with a toddler. And yeah, some of these strategies that I'm going to talk about are things that we've sort of made up, I guess, along the way, and they've worked for us, or strategies that we've learnt through just chatting to other parents. I've also recently done the Big Little Feelings parenting course. I think it was the toddler course. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, it's really great. I definitely recommend it. I will be mentioning a few things from that course in this video, but this video is not that course. So if you are interested in it, I definitely recommend jumping onto their website or their Instagram and having a look at it. Yeah, and even if you don't want to pay for the course, totally follow them on Instagram if you do have Insta, because they post lots of great stuff that is just really helpful. I followed them for a while on Instagram, and then I finally gave in and said, yep, I'm doing the course, paid for it, and it is really beneficial. It's definitely worth the money. All right, my first tip is a really basic one. Every parent knows this, but to avoid, this is mainly meltdowns, but to avoid meltdowns or tantrums, keep an eye on their basic needs. Make sure like basic needs are met. That is like the first simple thing that you can do as a parent, is make sure that they're fed, their blood sugar is not down, and that they're well rested. So they're having all their naps and, you know, aren't overtired or anything like that, overstimulated. Those are like the basic needs. And I know it sounds silly, but I definitely just wanted to mention that in the video, because I know when my son, if it's like snack time or something, and we haven't offered him a snack, he can definitely like lash out more. And if he's missed a nap, or yeah, we're hitting, you know, nap time and he hasn't had a nap yet, he can definitely have more meltdowns and just get more upset, I guess, over certain things. If something doesn't go his way, you know, if he is well rested, he might get a little bit upset, but if he isn't well rested, then he might get really upset and have a full meltdown over something really small. So I guess the tip there is always make sure you have snacks on you. Even if you're just going out for a quick trip, just having some dry snacks. I always keep dry snacks in our nappy bag. I have like a little pouch of dry snacks that are just always in there. That's like food that doesn't go off. It's all packaged. So I'll keep like a fruit pouch and some sultanas and some like packaged biscuits, rice crackers, things like that. And they pretty much always stay in there as a just in case. So if we do go out over like morning tea time, for example, I will still pack a separate, like a fresh morning tea, and then that dry food is more of a backup. So definitely always keep something like that in your car or in your nappy bag or something in your handbag, so you can quickly give that to your child if you do happen to be out longer than expected, or if they seem to be hungrier than you thought they would. And then yeah, for sleep, I guess you know your child, you know how much sleep they need, and you know how they get when they're tired. Everyone, you know, every toddler's different in that regard. But you, I guess, just need to keep an eye on that, and I guess decide whether things are really worth it. If it's, you know, over nap time, whenever we get invited to lunches, I'm always really aware that, you know, Nate usually has a midday nap, as most toddlers do. So that's something that, yeah, I look at it and think, okay, is this event or outing really worth it? You know, if it's a wedding, yes, sometimes you just have to push through. I'm not going to miss a wedding just because it's my child's nap time, but yeah, I will turn down lunches and, you know, lunch dates and stuff with friends if they ask me to come out. I'll say no, but I'll offer, hey, we should do dinner or something, or we should do afternoon tea. It's just my son naps at that time, so we can't really do that. Yes, I could go during nap time and he could just push through, but that would just be a terrible lunch for me. It just, yeah, it wouldn't even be enjoyable. It's like, and that's the point of going out, is to enjoy that experience. And yeah, he probably would be okay, but there would be a lot of meltdowns and tantrums, and that bad behavior would come out. And it's really hard, I guess, to teach them in those moments when they're, you know, past that point and they're getting really overtired. It's not really their fault, you know, so every parent's different, of course. And yeah, I think as a parent of your child, you need to decide what's best for them, and yeah, if that outing is really worth it to go during that time. Okay, my next tip is to make sure that your toddler's 2 buckets are always full. Now, I read this really great article talking about this in the toddler's 2 buckets. I can't remember who wrote it or where it came from, but it was gold. So I thought I'd share it. It's something that I often do think about each day. So the 2 buckets, the first one is control, their control bucket, and the second one is their attention bucket. So you want to make sure their control bucket and their attention bucket is full enough each day. Now, every toddler is different. Some toddlers need more attention, some need more control. You need to know, obviously, you know, you're the parent. Yeah, so you know what sort of personality they have and how much of each bucket they need full, I guess. It's a funny analogy. Yeah, so basically with the control side, basically I try to give Nate as many options throughout the day as I can, just so that he feels like he has that little bit of control, because obviously, you know, we're the parent and they're so little, they can't, you know, they need us, they need help all day, every day. And we are making decisions all the time for them, and they sort of have to go along with it. So that can be really frustrating to them. So if you give them, you know, options throughout the day and ask them which one would you like, and that helps them to feel like they have a little bit of control. So where possible, definitely look at doing something like that. Obviously you can't do it for everything. Yeah, you wouldn't have them deciding everything throughout the day. And if you do give them options or a question, don't make it open-ended. So you wouldn't be like, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? Because if they choose ice cream, yeah, it's not going to work. Either you're giving them ice cream for dinner, or you have to say no to them, and that stops that control. So instead you give them 2 options. So, you know, when you're getting dressed in the morning, which shirt do you want, the blue shirt or the red shirt? Or what should we have for dessert after dinner? Should we have strawberries or should we have yogurt, for example? So things like that. So you're still, as the parent, still in control and still making the big decisions, but you're giving them that little bit of control so that you're not making every single decision for them and they sort of feel like they have some control. And then the attention bucket. So obviously toddlers need a lot of attention, not just basic needs and giving them food and that sort of thing, but actually sitting down and playing with them or reading them a book. Just 10 minutes is so quick. Like, you don't have to play with them all day. I definitely do not do that. I do not have time for that. I'm a working mum. But I do try to give my son attention throughout the day, and I know when he hasn't had enough attention, and I know when he hasn't had enough control. It has taken me a while to get to that point of understanding that. And that's something, you just have to, I guess, look out for as you hang out with your child, and you can see when they're upset over certain things. I know when he comes home from daycare, he goes to daycare 2 days a week, and when he comes home, he often acts like he has lacked control throughout the day, which is probably really true because at daycare, they don't really get options. It's more, this is the activity we're doing now, this is the food we're eating, and that sort of thing. So when he comes home, he gets, I can just tell the way he's upset and the way he's saying no. He usually says no a lot and refuses to do certain things if I can tell his control bucket is low. So that's one thing I'm definitely trying to work on and remember at the end of a daycare day, is just to give him a little bit of control, just to help make the night a bit smoother leading up to bedtime, so that we can get to the end on time and not be like a constant power struggle. My next tip is to acknowledge your child's feelings and emotions and let them just feel it. Like, I grew up, and you probably grew up in the same sort of era where parents sort of swept your feelings under the rug, just more of the, you're okay, stop crying, it's okay, or I'll give you something to cry about, sit down and just stop, you can't get up until you stop crying, and I'm not talking to you until you calm down, that sort of stuff. And so, I definitely grew up I guess looking at emotions is a bad thing, and that I just have to be a rock all the time, and I can't show emotions, otherwise I'm like shut out from society. And I think a lot of us grew up in that way, and it's really unhealthy, of course. So it's really important to acknowledge your child's feelings and to teach them about feelings as well. There's lots of books about feelings and shows, and you can even just, when another child is crying, I always make sure I talk to Nate about it. I say, oh look, that toddler's crying, is he sad? And Nate will see, and he'll acknowledge that as well. We'll just have a conversation about that. And then, when he is crying because, maybe upset, okay, TV time's over, for example, and he gets upset, I'll just say, look, yeah, you're sad. Hey, you're sad. And he'll actually stop and be like, yeah. And that actually, just saying to him, you're sad, actually just calms him right down. So I've been doing that a lot. Or, you're angry because, we have to leave the park, and, that sort of thing, and just sort of acknowledging it and just letting them feel it, even if you're out in public and they're having a bit of a cry fest, who cares? I think we just need to teach them that emotions are okay, and it's totally fine to feel that, to feel your emotions, as long as they're just like letting it out in a healthy way and they're not hitting or anything like that. Just letting them write it out. Who cares? If they're crying in the middle of Woolworths, you just deal with it and move on. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone else walking by. It's your child, they're sad, and they're allowed to be. It's totally fine. Okay, my next tip is to give your toddler lots of preparation when coming up to a change of event, or even just what you're doing that day, even if it's like very similar to what you normally do. Toddlers don't know what day of the week it is. They don't know that Mondays you go out to playgroup, or Tuesdays you work and they go to daycare. Like, they don't know that stuff is coming up. So it's good to, I guess, just explain those things to them at the start of the day or throughout the day. Hey, we're going to do this now, and just make it really simple. We're going to get dressed, and then we're going to go in the car, and then we're going to go to daycare. just so that when it comes up, they're not like, wait, what are we doing? I thought we were, at home today. And it can be a big thing, in their brain. They're trying to work out what's happening. And especially a change of event. If something that doesn't usually happen is going to happen, then that's really important to prepare them for. I think preparation is key for a lot of things. I've started doing it more, and I've just found a huge change in behavior just by preparing my son. So an example of that is we were going to be hanging out with a friend and doing a bit of like a little bike ride. We were going down to the netball courts, and the toddlers were just going to do like a little bike ride, whilst myself and my friend were just going to hang out and chat. And my friend's daughter didn't have a bike to do that, but we have a trike and a balance bike. And I knew Nate would be on the balance bike, so I offered to bring our trike. And I thought to myself, oh, Nate's like not gonna like this because he's so, he doesn't like sharing right now. Like obviously all the toddlers find that really hard, especially when it's something of theirs. And I thought, oh, he's probably just gonna have like a meltdown and just like not, push the toddler off of the trike, even though he has a bike to ride. He just won't understand. And I ended up just talking to him about it, just explaining, hey, you're gonna ride this one, and our friend is gonna ride this bike. And he actually got really upset at home. He actually cried, which was fine. He was just a bit sad about that, and he kept saying, oh, like no, and he calls himself Bubba, so he was saying no, Bubba, and pointed to the bike. I said, yes, that's yours, but we're gonna share it, and we're gonna let our friend ride it. You're gonna ride this bike, and then when we come home, we'll take both the bikes back home because they're yours. And explained it to him, and he just had a bit of a cry. And I was packing the bags in the next room thinking, oh great, that's probably, I don't know if this is a good idea. And when we got there, he was actually fine. He went up to her and gave her the bike, and he looked at me and smiled, and like I could see that he knew in his mind, like, yes, this is what's happening. You told me already, you prepared me that she was gonna be riding this one and I'm gonna be riding this one. And so, I knew that was just like a great parenting moment for me. And ever since then, I've been like really trying to remember to prepare him for as much as possible. And it's helped even with like daycare drop off, for example, just to reduce the crying. So I've just told him before we go, hey, I'm going to drop you off. I'm going to say goodbye. And then I'm going to come back later and pick you up. And that has actually reduced his crying a lot. Okay, so my next tip is to not have a big reaction to your toddler if they're showing some sort of bad behavior. So toddlers really love attention, as I explained when I was talking about the buckets. And it doesn't really matter to them what sort of attention they get, which took me a while to understand the way that the toddler mind works. I just thought that they would only want like that positive attention, hugs and us playing with them and that sort of stuff. But no, they don't care what it is, as long as our attention is fully on them. If we're yelling at them, it's like no, anything like that, they're like, oh yes, I've got a reaction from mom or from dad. They just think that's the best thing. And so they don't quite understand that concept of no, that's not okay. I'm not happy with you right now. To them, that doesn't make them feel bad at all. They're like, all they think about is, yes, I got their reaction. And so they'll keep displaying that bad behavior, which I know is crazy. And it just seems kind of stupid how that works, but that's how it works. And the more you say no or yell at them or anything like that, the more you'll probably see that behavior. So the thing that we usually do, and I've actually learned this from somewhere, it wasn't the Big Little Feelings course. I saw that, I think it might have been a podcast or something I listened to, and it's just what we do all the time now. It's really great. So what we do is, instead of just shouting like, no, don't do that, we still use the no word. I know not all parents do, but I think it's important for him to know that no is a normal word and it's an English word in our normal language. And he should know what like the meaning of that word is. So I don't want to completely ignore the word no. We still use no in our house. But I just say it gently, and I'm really neutral when I talk to him, so I don't have a big emotional reaction as much as I can. I try to just keep that calm. So I'll just say to him, oh no, we don't do it like that. And then I'll just say, this is how we do this. So for example, if it's, he's building blocks, instead of building them, he starts like pegging them across the room. I don't want him to like damage anything or hurt himself or hurt someone else. So I just get down to his level and really calmly I say, oh no, Nate, we don't throw blocks. We only throw a ball, and I might get out his ball if he feels like throwing. So I try to redirect him in that sort of way. And you can sort of give them something that is appropriate to do that with. Like for example, if they're chewing on something you don't want them to chew on, give them something they can chew on. So I'll say, no, here's a ball. We only throw balls. If you want to play with the blocks, you can stack the blocks and actually sit down and show him. So you just turn it more into a positive thing instead of just, no, we don't do that, and not like explain it or anything and just yell at them. Like they just don't understand that sort of thing. You need to show them what to do with it instead of just don't do it like that. So yeah, we just show him this is actually what you do with this toy. You stack it. And if he chooses to continue to throw it, depending on the situation, I might do it a few times because, it does take them a while to understand a new concept. Especially if I haven't taught him something like that before, if we haven't had that issue, I might show him a few times, no, we don't do it like that, we do it like this. We stack. If you want to throw a ball. And if he still continues to show that bad behavior, then I'll just say, okay, you're not playing with it the way that you should. And, this is dangerous. So mummy's going to put it away and we'll take it out later on and give it another go later. And so instead of making him feel like he's like a bad kid doing something that, he's still learning about our world, and he's going to be curious over lots of different objects and different things, and he's going to be playing around with lots of different things. Like that's how they learn. So, they're going to display the bad behavior even if you've told them no. So I'll put it away and just say, look, we'll get it out later. And he might get sad, he might get upset, he might have a tantrum because I've taken it away and he wants to continue throwing the blocks. That's fine. You just explain their emotions again, talk it out with them, give them a hug, redirect. Let's go and throw the ball. Let's go read some books or something. But I obviously let him feel those feelings first, acknowledge them, and then we move on. I don't try to go on and on about it. And then next time we pull out the blocks, I just go straight into that positive explanation of how to actually play with them. We stack blocks. Now, I don't mention throwing. If he does it again, obviously I would just keep doing it. And eventually, they understand, hey, if I want to play with blocks, I have to stack them. I'm not allowed to throw them across the room because mummy puts them away and I don't want that. I want to play with them. So eventually they learn. Okay, my last and final tip is actually a tip that I learned from the Big Little Feelings course. And they call it Follow the Leader. And it's just been brilliant. I use it all the time with Nate. It's just, really great strategy. So basically for things that your child doesn't like to do and they're going to say no to, and they'll get upset if you try to do those certain things, try to come up, your child might already have a toy or something that they like. If they have like a stuffed teddy bear or a bunny or something, or they have an older sibling that you can use, or your partner, for example. I do that sometimes too with my husband. Have them be the leader, and oh look, daddy's putting his shoes on, and we're gonna brush teddy bear's teeth right now, and then we're gonna brush your teeth, that sort of thing. And it actually really works, surprisingly. So Nate has a baby shark. He calls it baby shark because of the song, of course. So he has a little toy shark in the bath, and we use that to be the leader of brushing teeth, because Nate always used to hate brushing his teeth. It'd always be so hard, and for maybe a couple of months there, sometimes his teeth would be brushed, sometimes it'd be half brushed. I was always worried about his teeth having holes in them. He doesn't, he's fine. But I was just so worried about that. And now I don't have to be, because every single night now, since I've been doing this, and it's been probably at least 2 months now, we've been using Shark. He has always brushed his teeth. So I'll go, okay, it's baby shark's turn, and I brush baby shark's teeth. And I say, okay, now it's Nate's turn, and we brush his teeth. We go, okay, we're gonna brush baby shark's bottom teeth now, and we do that, and then we brush Nate's teeth. and he loves it. I don't know, he just thinks it's the best. And every time I say we're brushing our teeth now, he actually goes over and gets his baby shark toy for me to brush his teeth. So yeah, that works really well. Or as I mentioned, I sometimes use my husband to be the leader because he does like to be like his daddy. So yeah, putting on our shoes now, we're gonna get in the car, daddy's doing it, let's copy him, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, so that works really well for us. So those are my like main big tips and strategies that I use for my son. You know, he still has meltdowns and tantrums. That's still going to happen. He's still understanding his emotions, and he's not going to be in control of them until, like, I don't know, I think 3 or 4. I think that's when they're no longer considered a toddler. I think it's 4. Anyway, yeah, so you know, he's just working through those things, and his brain is growing like crazy. There's a lot of things they just don't understand. So yeah, we definitely, although he does push my buttons a lot, and sometimes I do get very annoyed by him, and I don't always use the strategies that I want to use to be a gentle parent. You know, I try my best, like any parent, I guess, but I think it's really great that we share these tips with each other, of course. So if you do have any tips that you know that work really well for your toddler, then please share them with me. Please write them in the below comments. I'd love to read them. But I really hope this video helped you, and I hope you can apply some of these things to your toddler, or maybe your future toddler if you have a baby. Write these things down because you will need them in the future. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please make sure you hit the like button if you like this video, and make sure you hit subscribe if you want to keep seeing content similar to this.